Good morning. Jim Laird joining you live from Managua, Nicaragua. A little change of pace today. Practice is going well with national team. Today we have a celebration for Los Santos for our championship that we won on Tuesday night. So that's going to be fun. I get to go to that. And the nice thing is I got some really great assistants at national team that can run things while I'm gone. So that's good. And, I'm reminded I've been working with, I've been involved in sports since probably the third grade. And then, of course, all the teams I played for, college teams, wrestling, all that stuff, football. Morning, Dan, how are you? And, of course, all the way through my career, I trained mostly women, but I had lots of teams I worked with, athletes. The nice thing is my main business was training women. And then I could pick and choose the teams I wanted to work with, the athletes I wanted to work with, because I didn't have to train them to make a living. So, over the last 30 years, I've trained hundreds of teams, worked with hundreds of athletes, taken kids from the age of 12 to Division I stuff, and, working with pro athletes, getting them ready for combines and things like that. But, being back now, working with teams since I started working with teams here in March, just reminding me of the relentless pursuit of fundamentals and the basic things that you have to do every day as an athlete really carries over into everyday life. Obviously, if you're not trying to improve performance, you don't have to take it to the extreme of an athlete as far as what you need to do to take care of your body, but it's the little things done daily that really make the big difference. If you look at sprinters, you look at gymnasts, you look at high-level performers, they do all sorts of remedial to moderate things every day. Climbing ropes, bear crawls, walking on their hands, sprinters, skips, hopping on one foot, bounding, skips, things that are low to moderate to prepare their body for intensity. And that's one thing that's lacking here is that they don't really do anything to prepare the body for intensity of the game. The violent, you're standing still for, 10, 15 minutes and you have to suddenly have to violently sprint. They don't do much here. So that's a big part of what I'm changing here is adding some competition, some speed work, adding a lot of this low-level, moderate activity daily to warm-ups to help prepare them for what they're going to face in the game, right? But as a normal person, you need to be doing stuff daily, getting outside, protecting your eyes from the light at night, what you eat, getting some daily movement, some flowing Tai Chi, some floor warm-up stuff every day consistently. That's what's going to make the difference in the long run. Most people in today's society, they want to go for the fancy, flashy things, the HIIT classes, the boot camp workouts. They put so much effort into that a couple times a week where they'd be much better off investing in daily habits that are going to build a foundation so that if you do want to do something more intense, it actually has a positive outcome. Where most people spend most of their time seated inside, and they don't have that base foundation of fitness where you can actually drive adaptation. So, John, what's going on, man? How's things? Good to see you. So that's, one thing I've been reminded of working with the sports teams now, again, is how much the daily low to moderate activity to prepare you for more intensity, how important that really is. And the good news is, when you're a beginner, that low to moderate activity is going to get you some pretty nice results. And I think a lot of people, especially with the internet today, and all the fancy exercises you see, because people are trying to get views and clicks, they tend to gravitate towards the fancy things before they can do the fundamentals well. And so, you constantly need to be working on the basics to build your foundation and to maintain your foundation. And, your body, is your business, so to speak. And so you need to invest in your business daily. And if you invest daily with some really simple things, you're going to be in a pretty good place. Now, if you're a performance guy, then that's going to be a little different, right? So that's basically my take on that. But I've been really enjoying being here. It's getting used to coaching from, being outside. In Managua, it's a lot hotter here. In Messiah, it's a little cooler. So being outside here and coaching from 8 in the morning till around 11 in the heat is definitely a big adjustment. But we're working on it. So I definitely have to. My sleep has improved immensely since I moved here with air conditioning. It's so good to have a nice cool room. This place I'm staying at is great. It's real quiet here, but we got a pool. We got chickens, parrots, pigeons, cats. We got it all. It's like Animal Farm. So it's a pretty cool place. Very reasonable. So, and hey, if you ever want to come visit, I live in a hotel, so plenty of rooms. Come hang out. There's a lot of cool things to do here. I mean, obviously, I'd rather live in a rainforest, but the 1.5 hour commute every day is definitely not worth it. The risk of driving more on a motorcycle here, combined with fuel costs and all that stuff, plus the opportunity to work with more baseball players here in Managua, especially, there's a few major league players here that I'll have the opportunity to work with being in Managua. And then being able to work for Los Santos and the national team being based here is key. So super excited about all the opportunities that I have right now here, getting to lay the foundation for athletic development, which is really cool. The idea is to train other coaches, kind of get them up to speed on the basics of speed training, the basics of a good dynamic warm-up, and kind of teach them how to raise the bar, so to speak, a little bit, and then incorporating some competition into practice. Sprinkling it in here and there. We got to be careful because these guys play year-round. They don't get any kind of off season, so keeping things conservative so we don't beat these guys up too much. And luckily I have access to a gym with some Aerodyne bikes. We're going to be doing a lot of conditioning on the Aerodyne bikes here in the next 2 weeks. We've got a tournament in Guatemala that we're going to, and then we have a tournament in Venezuela. The pro season starts in November, so national team practice will come to a halt, and then I'll be checking in on the guys from time to time, seeing how they're doing, and basically that'll be that. And then January comes around, we'll be getting ready for the Classic in Miami against Dominican Republic. So pretty cool stuff. Never envisioned, it's really interesting. When I first got into strength and conditioning, I was already, when I was in Arizona, I was already training women. I worked at a gentleman's establishment because I was getting paid like $2 an hour to supplement my income. And one girl was having back problems, so I started training her, and she told, her back issues went away, and she told all her other girlfriends, and before you know it, I'm training 30 dancers at a gym in Tucson, and that was pretty wild. Good morning. And so then when I went to move to Kentucky, I envisioned me working with all these athletes, and I did get a couple athletes. I got a really good young football player who'd been injured in the weight room that I rehabbed. And I had another girl who had 3 ACL surgeries who came to me, and I worked with her, and we were able to get her through her senior year with no problems. She just wanted to play her senior year. Yeah, it was interesting, to say the least. It was good training for later on down the road to the housewives. But I immediately started training women, because they were available and they saw what I was doing, and I could get 1 or 2, and then they changed dramatically in a few months when you get them lifting some weights and you don't do dumb things, and you get them to eat a little better, and you had a little more protein. And before you knew it, I was training, 70-80% of my clients were female. And I never expected that. I expected to be working at a college, at a D1 college or something like that. And I realized really quickly that that's no job security, and it's you have to be so on when you train, like especially guys like football. I'm more of a mentor coach, a thinking coach, I'm not much of a yeller. I can be at times, but I like to be more of a mentor. And I never expected my career to be based on, training mostly women. And then I could cherry pick my athletes, where a lot of my colleagues would have to train whoever came to them because they basically needed to pay the bills. My bills were paid by ladies, and then I could pick and choose the athletes I wanted to work with, which was very, very helpful. And it allowed me to have a little variety in my in what I'm doing with people, which I really like. And when I moved here to Nicaragua, I never expected to be coaching here. I did, but in a different way. I was gonna open a gym on the beach, and then the person I was working with, we were gonna bring clients down, kind of like a resort, and that kind of fell through. The resort turned out to be not what was advertised, so to speak. So that ended, and then when I moved to Diriomo, I started working out at a gym in Messiah. I thought for a while, I was like, maybe I need to go back to the States. I was working online, and internet business isn't one of my strengths. I'm not very good at self-promotion, not good at marketing at all. So I was doing that, and I was going crazy. And then I met a player, Juan Diego Montes, at a gym called Euro Gym in Messiah. He asked me to help him. And then I was asked to help with the team that he was working with, that he was playing for, help kind of get them back on track. And then started training a guy named Carlos Taylor, who's a great captain of the national team in Managua. He was training another baseball player as well. And then Los Dentos asked me to come help. And then the national team asked me to come help them. So this all is crazy. It's just kind of like sometimes in life, I know Eric Cressy, for example, he started off as a tennis player and accidentally ended up training baseball players. And so, when I moved here, my intention was to open a gym on the beach, and now I'm training, the national team and Los Santos, two of the best organizations in Nicaragua. And so, if you're going through some, you got to keep an open mind. And a lot of times your plans don't exactly go the way you planned, but looking back, I'm glad the way things worked out, and everything I've done in the last 30 years is to prepare me for this, essentially. All the teams I worked with limited equipment. This is a developing country. So I think about all the times, when I was at Lexington Catholic, where we didn't have access to a weight room, where I had to get creative. I had to figure out ways to do things. That same thing applies here, because, sometimes I don't have access to nothing but bands and a few med balls. And, we're able to get work done with some really simple things. Hey, Teddy, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. So, if you're going through some times where you don't really know which direction you're supposed to go, things tend to work out. But a lot of times, don't close your mind and get set on, if I'd have said, hey, I'm only training football players, who knows what would have happened, right? And so just be reminded that things sometimes work out in ways that are different and end up being better than what you expected. So I'm having a blast. It's a lot of work. I don't think I've worked this hard since I was a GA at Arizona. But it's so good, and the players treat me so well. The coaches, the two organizations I'm with, the coaches are fantastic, particularly the national team. I got a young assistant that's hungry to learn, excited to learn, and he does a great job helping. He jumps right in. All the coaches are receptive, which sometimes when you're introducing new things, there's some resistance, which I've experienced in the previous team. But we're here to get these guys better, and looking forward to watching them compete here. We got some exhibition games against El Salvador next week, so it'll be fun to watch these guys play. A lot of them are doing things they've never done before, so a lot of them are like, I'm sore in places I've never been sore before, and it's like you just got to work through it. There's a lot of pitchers here tend to, they get a little sore and they're like, oh, I got to stop doing that. And I'm like, get used to it. You'll get used to it. Just keep pushing through. real basic stuff, single leg squats, bear crawls, things like that. They've never done anything like that before, so it's different for them. But things are going well. I'm enjoying being here, and I look forward to enjoying the celebration today. Los Santos definitely knows how to have a good time, and very well-run organization, so I'm very lucky to be a part of it. And I hope you have yourself a great day. Make sure you take the time to get outside. It's the daily habits that are going to set you up for success. I talked about the stress bathtub, I think, yesterday. You've got to empty that stress bathtub. Our modern world is filled with chronic daily stress. Our biology isn't used to that, so you got to learn how to relax. You got to learn how to shut off. And I have to remind myself of that all the time, especially now. With the amount of work I'm doing, I got to take time to get in the pool. I got to take my time for my walks. I got to make sure I'm getting in bed at a decent hour, getting off the phone. These are all things that I need to do to take care of myself, to make sure that at 50 years old I can go out and coach with energy. So make sure you're taking the time to invest in yourself so that you build that resilience, so that you can handle stress, so you can train, you can do all these things to make you better. So make sure you take the time to get outside today, and we'll see you tomorrow.